Hi, everyone. So thank you for joining us today. This is Lizzie Hoffman with TowerData. I'm the marketing manager over here. And today we're going to be talking with Matt Wallace and Sharif Shalan about how to make your data agile with TowerData and how to set up your Salesforce marketing account and validate emails like an expert. So a little bit about Matt and Sharif to start. Matt's our VP of Sales here at TowerData, and for nearly a decade, he's had experience in search marketing, display ads with Fortune 500 companies, million-dollar corporations, and individual affiliates. He always works really hard in every project to get down to the details and optimize emails to always reach the inbox. Sharif Shalan is the CEO of Agile Cloud Consulting. He was first introed to Salesforce as an end user in 2007. In 2013, he was chosen as a Salesforce MVP and was inducted actually into the Salesforce MVP Hall of Fame in 2020. So we're super stoked to have Sharif Shalan with us today. I want to make sure that we go through our agenda real quick so you have an idea of how this is going to go. First, we're going to discuss why using TowerData services with your Salesforce Marketing Cloud makes a difference. Just going through the benefits of data validation and enhancement. Matt will take you through a few use cases, and then Sharif is going to dive into a short demonstration about how to use Salesforce Marketing Cloud with TowerData services. And that'll include some setup tips and tricks, and why Agile is a great resource if you have other questions or concerns about your Salesforce Marketing Cloud setup. You'll have the ability to submit questions throughout. I'll keep track of those, and at the end, we're going to have question and answers. So make sure to stick around if you ask the question and you want that answered. If we don't get to it, don't worry. We're going to be recording this and sending out the slides afterwards. You'll see some links placed throughout. So you'll have all of that available after the presentation. So no need to take super detailed notes. Just sit back, listen, hang out, and I'm going to throw it over to Matt and Sharif to talk a little bit about TowerData and Agile.
Thanks, Lizzie, for kicking it off. So I just want to give you everyone here who's joining a quick overview on TowerData. TowerData's two core competencies are really fall in the categories of validation and data enrichment. We are a global leader in helping companies keep their data clean and current so they can take optimized and actionable approaches to their data. In terms of data enrichment, our kind of motto is we want to be able to help the marketer understand anything they need to know about the person associated with an email address to market to them better. And data validation and data enrichment really go hand in hand when putting together a successful marketing campaign and keeping your CRM data clean and optimized. We are also a trusted resource. When you're dealing with companies' customer data, contact data, that is the lifeblood of their business. And trusting a company to process and handle that data is important now more than it ever has been. TowerData has taken the extensive steps to be ISO certified. So when you're working with us, you know you're working with a very trusted and secure partner to process and handle your data. We are also in a very exclusive club. We are one of very few companies in our vertical that is an approved Salesforce application. And as a Salesforce marketing partner, we had to go through an extensive company and security review in order to be officially partnered with Salesforce and in their app exchange. So the combination of our data validation, technology, security, and the leadership our company has shown to go through this process, we're really see ourselves as kind of the leader in this space and really an optimal partner for anyone who is using Salesforce.
Thanks, Matt. As far as Agile Cloud Consulting, the same as TowerData. TowerData is an ISV partner, meaning they have a product and they're working to develop that product. Agile Cloud Consulting is a SI partner, which means we're a consulting partner, and we're one of the top-rated partners on the App Exchange with a 5-star rating. We've done 100+ successful implementations, many years of experience, and our work spans across multiple industries, including for-profit, nonprofit, higher ed, and healthcare. And we're very happy to partner with TowerData on this.
Awesome. So now that we know a little bit more about TowerData and Agile, Matt, I want to ask you specifically, what are some of the benefits of using TowerData services within Salesforce Marketing Cloud?
Sure. So our core competency when we first look at a customer's database is really looking at what's the current health and status of all those contact records in the database before we do anything else. And our core email validation integration would really be the starting point. So typically when customers first start working with us, they'll want to run a validation on their existing database to understand how many of their emails, records, and customers are valid, how many are invalid. And with that data, we're able to kind of create two courses of actions. The ones that are valid, we can then decide what type of segments and messaging goes out to them. And the ones that are invalid, how do we manage those to potentially find new contact details for them or to suppress them within their existing database. A couple high-level statistics that I think are important for people to know when they're looking at their CRM system as a whole. About 18% of consumer emails are going to go bad each year. So people are going to change email providers, they're going to stop using an email, so on and so forth. So having a yearly or semi-annual data hygiene process is going to be really important to keeping your contact data current and deliverable. If you're dealing with B2B data, anywhere from 25 to 30% of that contact data will go bad each year. Industry averages will show that the average person is at a job less than 4 years. So just looking at that high level number, roughly a quarter of your records at a minimum will go bad, and you'll have to kind of identify those and find ways to find new contact details for those folks or a new person if you're using a Salesforce for a B2B marketing function. So the validation component, I think, plays a key step on kind of creating an outline of what's in your database and how we can take actions from there. Just some high-level things to keep in mind in terms of downstream what bad data can do for an organization. You're talking about increased costs with your email service provider or your CRM system. Most of them charge per record. So you do have additional carrying costs of carrying those bad records in your email provider or with your CRM system. Additionally, for your sales team, if you're using it for a B2B sales contact platform, there's nothing that sales teams hate more than having bad contact data or incorrect contact data in terms of their wasted time, or really just to keep conversations on track with prospects and knowing when maybe who they were speaking with or decision makers no longer there to be able to try to find some additional contacts. So those are just kind of some high level things that validation is going to help support, kind of streamline and make it easier for folks to manage their existing database. So the second layer of it is really after we have the data validated and we understand how quickly the data is turning over and what some of those high level benefits are, TowerData's second competency is going to come into place, and that's really our data enrichment. So essentially, when we have a person's email address, we can append back pretty much any data point that the marketer would want to know in order to market to that person better, build custom audiences, specific messaging and segmentation within their email platform based on a variety of different factors. So some of our most common attributes that companies want to know about their customers or prospects are age, gender, location, marital status, homeowner status, do they have kids? This allows them to build out kind of high-level segments so their messaging can be a lot more specific to the person that they're dealing with. And most ESPs, I know Salesforce Marketing Cloud has the ability to build out specific segments based on these attributes. So it's very easy to use this data that we would be able to append back in conjunction with Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Also, I think it's really important for organizations to step back and ask themselves, do we know what our customers look like? Oftentimes, companies think they know what those customers look like, but they don't really have kind of a full grasp and understanding of everything that goes into that buyer. So when you do a data append or enrichment with us, our real goal is to paint that full picture of what your customers or prospects look like. Because oftentimes companies just look at that email or that customer as a source of revenue and don't really understand the deeper attributes in order to market to them better and more efficiently. So there's many conversations that we have with our clients when they first come on board. They don't know what their customers really look like or where they're located or what their interests are. And we provide that data back, and it's a good initial baseline that not only helps with how they market to their data within their CRM, but what media platform should we be buying on? How can we use that data to then use different segmentations or selections on different ad platforms so we're reaching folks that really are more in line with who our ideal buyer is? So that intelligence really has long-term perpetual value to our end clients, not only just within their CRM, but on different platforms where you would go to market to them or solicit additional business from those folks. And so really a few examples here for folks that are putting this data into action. Obviously, retail and B2C customers are some of our largest customers and certainly find this data to be very actionable and very popular. So we typically recommend, if you're a retail or B2C client, to keep your appends more or less high level: age, gender, location. This allows us to help our end clients build out real, custom audiences and messaging. And oftentimes it really doesn't have to be overly complicated. We work with a very large national retailer, and what we've noticed when we first started working with them, a lot of the emails that they were sending out had pictures of folks between 25 and 35 in their emails. And when we first started speaking with them, we noticed they had line of clothing for really all ages and gender. And what we did initially is just append age and gender to their income. They built out 4 different segments within a 10-year age gap. And what they did was they put age-specific models in those emails. And what they noticed was that the 3 other age groups started to perform closer in line to the 25 and 35 age group that was in really all their messaging. So something as simple as that makes it a little bit easier for the end customer who's seeing an email or reading an email to be able to resonate with it better when you see folks within your same kind of age group in those specific advertisements. So it's not overly complicated. It's really pretty basic. The more customization you can build within your data segments, certainly the better performance you're going to get. For folks in the fintech sector, really we have 4 high-level data points that are really most important for folks who are servicing the financial services industry. Income, home ownership, presence of children, and marital statuses. Obviously, those speak for themselves when you're talking about, either if you have an offer for a mortgage, loan, or any other type of financial or investment services. Those very simply kind of speak for themselves, allow our end customers in the fintech space to be able to target folks that meet the specific, income and makeup of who they want to reach for their specific offers, and able to put, specific messaging in front of those folks. For folks who do B2B marketing, our two most popular data fields there are profession and income. Obviously, those go hand in hand, and no matter what B2B solution or technology you're looking to target, starting off with someone's profession and income are normally a pretty good starting point to help target those folks through your various marketing mediums. And one last thing that kind of ties all this together, I know mobile marketing and in-app advertising has been extremely popular and growing over the past couple of years. We also have the ability to append back device IDs to any email address. So after we validate the email and enrich it, and you have a full picture of who that person is, the next step is, how do I reach them and how do I get messages and marketing material in front of them? Through our device ID append, we can help you target them in-app mobile advertising through our device ID appends, and able to take that kind of record full cycle through validation, enrichment, and then being able to target them within their mobile device.
All right, thank you, Matt. That was really helpful. It sounds like there are a lot of use cases and that the integration itself would be pretty substantial. So I want to throw it over to Sharif and get an idea of why folks who are listening should really integrate TowerData services with their Salesforce Marketing Cloud accounts. And if you could walk us through a little bit of that setup, I wouldn't mind.
Sure. So, I think it goes to just the overall CRM strategy. The goal usually is to have, a 360-degree view of your constituents, know what's going on with everybody. You want to have less touch points, less clicks, better automation, a seamless integration, and of course, getting trusted data into your CRM. So as we see here, with TowerData, and if any of you have used the App Exchange before, there are a lot of different apps you can install, and there are install guides and ways to set up your apps. The TowerData app is pretty much plug and play. These are the steps right here, and let's walk through these really quickly just to show you how that would work. So you would go to the App Exchange, which is appexchange.salesforce.com. For those of you that haven't used it before, the App Exchange is kind of like the App Store on your phone, where you can go and download, certain apps and integrate directly with Salesforce third-party applications. At the top there, you would type in TowerData and click on the search. That'll take you to the TowerData listing. Here on the right-hand side there, you'll see a Get It Now link. So when you click on Get It Now, usually it would allow you to download it right at that point. For some apps, for the TowerData app, it'll actually ask you to fill in this form, since you have to set up a TowerData account if you don't already have one. So you would fill out this form. Once you fill out the form, you would get an install link in the mail, and you would click on that link. Once you click on the install link, it'll prompt you to log into Marketing Cloud. So here you would log in with your Marketing Cloud credentials, and you would click on the install button. Once you click on that install button, you would get the opportunity to set up the access to the app. So here you can define users by business unit, or you can choose to have a site-wide license that gives access to all existing and new users going forward. So at this point, you'll be prompted to log into your TowerData account, and you will be led to the instant data dashboard to connect to the app via OAuth. So here you would just choose this Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And then finally here, you would choose the data extensions that you want to import into TowerData. You would choose those, the process will start. You'll choose which service you want. So if you want to go with the email validation or the email intelligence services that Matt mentioned, let's assume you go with email validation. You'll get once you import that into the system, it'll do the validation, you'll get a summary. And at that point, you can choose to purchase the data and import it back into Marketing Cloud, into a Marketing Cloud data extension. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty straightforward process to get this up and running in your Marketing Cloud instance. There are a couple things to think about. So, as you know, if you are using Marketing Cloud, but you're also using Sales Cloud as your main CRM, you want to think about, do you want to send that the validation results back to Sales Cloud? And also the email intelligence results, which could be very useful, things like the segmentation information Matt mentioned. You probably want to send that back to Sales Cloud as well, so you can run reporting on it, do analysis. So this would be all through the connector that goes between the Marketing Cloud and the Sales Cloud.
Awesome. So Sharif, I wanted to ask you too, how would an organization like Agile Cloud Consulting come in to help someone if they're looking to optimize their setup or if they're unsure? Because I know I get lost in Salesforce, even though I've used it for a number of years, but how would Agile really help out in this situation?
And that's really what we do. We kind of just walk our clients through whatever they need. So as you see, the install and setup is pretty straightforward between Marketing Cloud and TowerData. If you did need some help with that, we can help you there. If you need just overall Marketing Cloud implementation help, we do Marketing Cloud implementations or overall Salesforce implementations. So Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Field Service Lightning, CPQ, communities. We've really done it all in this from a Salesforce perspective. And of course, if you want to get that Sales Cloud to Marketing Cloud connector set up so that all of that, great data that you get from TowerData, you can send back into your CRM and have it there for analysis and reporting. We can help you set that up as well.
Sweet. It sounds like you guys are pretty comprehensive in what you can do. So Matt, I want to toss it back over to you as we wrap up. What should someone do next if they're listening to this and they're ready to get started? What resources should they look for, et cetera?
Sure. So we're going to make it really easy after the call. We're going to send out an email to everyone, and there's going to be a link in there to register for a free account on our instant data portal. We're going to give everyone the opportunity to run a free test file and run a match report on all their data, free of charge for listening in. That match report will tell you how many different data fields we're able to match back on your file and what percentage of the file was valid and invalid. We'll go ahead and send you back a sample, and then you can schedule a consultation with us to be able to go over what you see and where whoever's listening here would want to take in terms of a next step on that data. There'll also be a link in the email address to schedule a consultation with Sharif's team on his different services and how they can help everyone listening today really get that data within Salesforce and get it organized and actionable. But really that first step of the free match report and free test file, I think is really good for anyone listening in, just to get a better understanding of what we can do as a next step from here.
Awesome. Those are really helpful resources, Matt. So a little bit of question and answer time. We don't have too terribly long, but one question, I think this is going to be more for Matt, that I saw come through, is someone asking, can I see all the B2B titles you have? Also, what is the B2B data scale and where is it sourced?
Sure, so great question. So when you run a match report with us, we'll be able to append that back as a field. So there'll be two aspects of the match report, one an overall match level, and then a breakdown of a match by category within each individual data point. So we can append that back for you in real time. In terms of sourcing, we work with dozens of different partners as well as self-reported data to bring that back. And so obviously the free match report is a great way to see what it looks like and allow our clients to run kind of an initial QA to make sure they're comfortable on what we're bringing back before taking any further steps.
Awesome. And then I want to ask something real quick that I was thinking about as we were working on this, putting it together. I know it's going to be an obvious question, but with the current circumstances, with the pandemic, all of that, have you, both Matt and Sharif, seen any sort of evolution to the services that either TowerData or Agile provides in ways that it would affect Salesforce Marketing Cloud users? So is there a rise in a need for validation? Are people submitting more fake emails, or are people requiring a little more help with setup? What are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I think definitely from from a Salesforce perspective, we've seen a rise in the need. I mean, clean data. There's always been there's always been an appetite for it. Everybody, of course, wants to have the best data out there. But yeah, I have seen that, especially now with remote work and everybody working from home. Having the right data, the right email addresses, the right and especially, whether you're working with consumers or B2B, that makes it, very critical. So I think I have seen just the, overall, having access to cloud technologies, being able to access the stuff, run it from anywhere, has been just generally, in more demand now with the COVID situation.
Yeah, I would say two things. I would say in kind of late March, early April, we noticed a big spike from our customers reaching out saying, hey, we want to send an email and communication to really everyone in our database to let them know what's going on and to keep them aware of what the updates were. And, there was certainly a large percentage of those databases that really weren't going, really weren't consistently engaged. So we saw a big spike in our validation business, and I think it opened folks' kind of eyes of how quickly that data turns over, and when unexpected things happen, to know that your data is good and current helps our end customers take quicker, actionable steps to communicate with their end customers, how they're reacting to what's going on. The second thing I think we noticed is really a need for current and deliverable contact data. So our email append business and email change of address have become very popular because folks who have relied on strictly, whether it's online advertising or other mediums, those avenues have gotten more expensive on Facebook and different networks, and the ability to have a person's email address essentially eliminates that barrier to go through, whether it's a Facebook targeted audience or to an app exchange, advertising exchange, or trying to buy space and in-app ads allows you to directly communicate to that customer with really no one in between. So I think it really did put an emphasis on having current and deliverable emails, and definitely email append and email change of address became quickly very popular with our end customers.
I think that makes sense. Okay, well, if you guys have any other follow-up questions, definitely let us know. At the end of the slide deck that you'll receive, there's Matt's email. You can book a meeting with him, and then there's also Sharif's email, and you can contact Agile Cloud Consulting. But I wanted to say thank you to both of you, and thank you to everyone for joining. Be on the lookout for an email with the deck and all of the follow-up information, as well as the recording of this webinar. So thank you, Matt. Thank you, Sharif. I'm sure we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you, Liz. Bye.
Thanks, Ed.